recognize Mr. Ben Burr, Executive Director of the Blue Ribbon Coalition. Mr. Burr, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
All right. Well, Madam Chair, Ranking Member, and members of the committee, thank you for being here this morning. My name is Ben Burr. I lead the Blue Ribbon Coalition, which is a national nonprofit that has fought for recreation access to our public lands since 1987. We have members in all 50 states. And I want to start with a place that's on the front line of a broken regulatory and permitting process, which is Randsburg, California. This little mining town this spring in federal court ordered about 2,200 miles of routes in California's West Mojave Desert to be closed because the Bureau of Land Management's analysis didn't satisfy the law. I'm not here to relitigate that. I'm here to tell you what it does to little towns like Randsburg that are out there in this desert. The fuel stops, the diners, the motels, and the repair shops, they live on the people who come to ride these very dirt trails that were closed. The BLM is required to reassess this route system by court order in 3 years. The last time they did this, it took over 10. A closure that lasts years isn't a hardship they wait out. For a lot of those impacted by this delay, it's the end. A business that loses a season doesn't come back when the gates reopen. And what these towns need is hope, a reason to believe that the closure has an end date. And that's exactly what our permitting system doesn't give them. The routes stay closed until the BLM writes a new plan. That plan takes 2 federal agencies and the consultation the Endangered Species Act requires. And there's no schedule, no deadline, no one accountable for finishing it. So the closure just sits there open-ended. And that's the problem this bill solves. And it solves it with one word. There's a program called Fast 41. For almost 10 years, it's helped big infrastructure projects go through the federal permitting on a predictable scale. Projects that include energy, broadband, semiconductors. There's 19 sectors that qualify, and recreation is not one of them. Congressman Hurd's bill adds it. With one word, they drop recreation into that list of 19 projects. And let me be clear about what it does and doesn't do. It doesn't change one line of environmental law. It doesn't decide any permit. What it adds is coordination, a lead agency, a published timetable, deadlines that line up, and a public dashboard so everyone can see where a project stands. It's voluntary, and it doesn't require a project to be huge. There's a pathway with no dollar threshold for any project complex enough to need a full environmental study or require approval from more than 2 agencies. These discretionary pathways could be used to benefit a broad range of recreation projects. Let me give you 2 quick pictures of who this helps. First are ski areas. When a resort on a national forest wants to add a lift or a run or expand their resorts, the Forest Service has to review it, and that now takes years. Bryan Head in southern Utah is my home ski mountain, and there's an expansion that started a review last year, and the decision isn't expected until 2028. 3 years for one resort to plan, and that's if nothing slips or gets held up. In Colorado, Winter Park has been waiting since 2022. Targhee is in an expansion process that has been going on for, I believe, 7 years. Sipapoo in New Mexico is facing similar challenges. We also have our reservoirs. The clearest case of all is Lake Powell, which drew almost 5 million visitors last year, who spent over $500 million in nearby towns like Page, Arizona, and Kanab, Utah. Lake Mead drew 6.5 million visitors, who spent over $400 million in Boulder City and Las Vegas. Blue Mesa anchors Gunnison, Colorado, and when the water drops, the marinas get stranded and the ramps close. Every fix runs through reclamation, the Park Service, and wildlife agencies with no schedule holding it together, so the access is always a step behind the changing water lines. And here's how these things connect. The closed routes in the Mojave, the mountains waiting for years, the marinas stuck above the water line. In every case, recreation was treated as an afterthought, and real communities are paying for it. These folks aren't asking to skip environmental review. They're asking for what every other sector already has, a process with a deadline, a date they can plan around. They're asking for hope, and Congressman Hurd delivers it in a single word. The Blue Ribbon Coalition supports H.R. 9248. We encourage the members of this committee to do so as well. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Burr. I now recognize Rep. Hageman.
HR already has a process with a deadline, a date they can plan around. They're asking for hope, and Congressman Hurd delivers it in a single word. The Blue Ribbon Coalition supports HR 9248. We encourage the members of this committee to do so as well. I look forward to your questions.